Training Center. Take your Cambridge Grammar for IELTS page number 70A. Reported speech. As you know, what do you mean by reported speech? Somebody says something, you go and say to somebody, this is what he has told. So pronoun changes, verb changes, time changes. So here, report each of the sentences below using a verb from the box. Remember that you don't need to report the original words exactly. So you are using these verbs as reported verbs, and you see the sentence here, and you are not supposed to use the exact words. See, for example, what are the verbs? Agree. Number 2, apologize. Number 3, ask. Ask. Once again, ask. Deny. Encourage. Persuaded. Promise. Refuse. Suggest. So these are the verbs which we use in reported speech. We are going to lower taxes and reduce unemployment. A minister says, we are going to lower taxes and reduce unemployment. So what do you go and say to outside? Somebody, the government promised. You take the word promised. See, this is the one, number 1, promised. The government promised to lower taxes and reduce unemployment, right? The government promised to lower taxes and reduce unemployment. We are going to lower taxes and reduce unemployment. The V stands for the government. Now, second question. I really think you should apply for the job. I really think you should apply for the job. You would have a good chance of getting it. So somebody says to you, I really think you should apply for the job. You would have a good chance of getting it. So in indirect speech, what do you say in reported speech? Say, what's the answer? She encouraged. You are using the word from here. This is second. She encouraged. She encouraged me to apply for the job. So this is the direct sentence. I really think you should apply for the job. You would have a good chance of getting it. So you're using one of the verbs here, reporting verbs, and you are changing the word order in reported speech. She encouraged me to apply for the job. You got it, sir? No, I won't help you. Do it yourself. Somebody says, no, I won't help you. I will not help you. Do it yourself. And reported speech, what do you say? He. This is the third. He refused to help me. He refused to help me. Got it, sir? Now, fourth. Oh, okay. I'll go to the meeting. Fourth. Oh, okay. I will go to the meeting, somebody says. And you have to use one of the verbs, reported verbs. And you say in a reported speech, what is that you can say? She agreed to go to meeting. She agreed. Fourth one. She agreed to go to the meeting. She agreed to go to the meeting. She agreed to go to the meeting. This is the reported speech. Number 5. I didn't cause the accident. Somebody says, I didn't cause the accident. It wasn't me. One driver says to the policeman, I didn't cause the accident. It wasn't me. So what is the reported verb you can use? Denied. Denied. So fifth one, denied. He denied causing the accident. He denied causing the accident. He denied causing the accident. Number 6. We are very sorry that we lost your application form. So in bank you have applied an application form, or in a college, they say, sorry, we have lost the application form. So what is that? You can use reported verb. They apologize. Right, sixth one. They apologized
for losing my application.
They apologized for
Losing
my application form. My application form. Why aren't there many poisonous snakes in Britain? Why aren't there many poisonous snakes in Britain? So he, use the reported verb he. Seventh one. He asked
why there are
why
there aren't
there aren't
many poisonous snakes in British.
many poisonous in Britain. British or Britain? See, in direct speech, after y r comes. Here after y there comes, r comes that side. So question changes into statement. Next, are you going to the lecture tomorrow? Somebody asks. So what is in the reported speech you say? She asked it. Say R, yes or no question. So you have to use if for whether. She asked.
If I was going to the lecture the next day.
You can use either if or whether. Whether
I was going to the lecturer.
I was going to the lecture
The next day.
tomorrow changes into the next day. Next, why don't you have a day off? You could do with a rest. Day off means you can take leave and take rest. So she, number 9, she suggested. Yeah,
I have a day off.
I
Have a day off.
have a day off. Day off means take leave. Please come to the theater with me. Dan, the person's name is Dan. I really think you will enjoy it. Oh, all right then, Claire. So what is that, Claire? Persuaded 10. Claire persuaded, yeah.
Dan to go to the theater with her.
Dan to
Go to
go to
the theater with her.
the theater with her. Next, so hope you are able to understand using these reported verbs. Direct speech words are changed in indirect speech or reported speech, right? Now we are going in for a listening section. Test practice D. To listen, listen a monologue. So here, no, it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue, it's a conversation. So listening section is a conversation about the energy, solar energy. So you'll be listening and you have to take down the correct answers, right? So now coming here, say questions 1 to 3. Complete the sentences, write no more than 3 words and or a number for each answer. So you are not supposed to write more than 2 or 3 words, and certain places you have to write a number. See here, solar towers create energy from moving. Solar towers, you know, solar towers, a big tower is there. The current is produced by absorbing the sunlight, right? So solar towers create energy from moving, so not more than 2 or 3 words, right, sir? Now coming here, second, the first ever recorded use of this type of energy was in the, so obviously it should be the year or a month. The location of the first solar tower was, so it has to be a place, right? 1 to 3 answers. Now coming here, questions 4 to 8. Complete the flow chart. You have to complete the flow chart. Write no more than 2 words for each answer, not more than 2 words. Solar tower flow chart. Solar tower. Tower means, as you know, it should be a big constructed something which is reaching the sky, right? So the towers are built using extra strong. Fourth answer you have to tell. You have to listen and write down the answer. So first you have to read the question. So mind is prepared for expecting what type of answers you will be. You have to write down. So you're listening for answers. At the bottom they have a sunlight collector. So tower at the bottom, sunlight collector. So it collects all the sunlight, made of dash. So what is it made of? The basement is made of. Spread over a large area of the ground. So tower, sunlight is absorbed and it is absorbed in a something. So what is that? The bottom. The sunlight collector warms the air beneath it. So the sunlight collector warms the air beneath that whatever the sheet is, and it operates in a similar way to a dash. So you have to write down the answer. Now coming here, the air means what? The heat air from the sunlight which is collected, dash, what is the answer? Though the tower causing the turbines to turn. What do you mean by turbines, sir? Anybody? Turbines. You know, as the heat goes up, something goes rolling. Turbines, right? Turbines. So here, the air though the tower, through the tower, causing the turbines to turn through the tower. Next, the turbines create dash megawatts of electricity. So through the solar energy, absorbing the heat which is stocked inside, heat energy, it goes up, the turbine is revolved, then what happens? Current is extracted. So how many current? What is the amount of current? Megawatts, whatever it is, electricity, how much is stored? So this is the answer which you have to listen, be careful. So the questions 9 to 10, circle 2 letters A to E. You have to circle A, B, C, D, E. You have to circle 2 letters. What is the question? What are 2 disadvantages of solar towers? You know solar towers. You get electricity through idle. Idle means through water. Then through thermal. Through thermal means cold. Through wind. Through water. So what are the 2 disadvantages of solar? Through solar, what are the 2 disadvantages? So they are too expensive to run. Is the answer? Is it too expensive? Creating solar tower, is it too expensive? Number 1, did you hear that? Or number 2, heat escapes from the solar collector. Heat, whatever it goes off. Is it true? Disadvantages. So as you listen about the solar tower, do you hear 2 disadvantages, like they are too expensive to run, or the heat escapes from the solar tower? Or number 3, they require a great deal of land. Is it true? For solar tower you need lot of land. Is it a disadvantage? 4th, they cannot produce electricity at night, you know, during the sunlight. Only when the sunlight is there, heat is produced. Through the heat, the vapor goes up and the turbines revolve, and what happens? Electricity is generated, but night it is not possible. Is it a disadvantage? They need to be able to withstand high winds. So towers, you know, huge big towers, almost kilometers length, it goes up. So what happens? The wind will be blowing. It has to withstand. Is it true? See, one solar tower, if you fix, you get electricity for 2 lakh houses. How much houses? How many houses? 2 lakh houses. So are these the disadvantages? So now you will be going for a listening task, right? Are you ready? Are you ready, sir? Okay. Dear friends, listen properly. This is the listening task. So, it is a conversation between a tutor. Tutor means what? A trainer. And the person's name is Millie. Millie. A tutor says, okay, so it is Millie's turn to give her tutorial today. So, Millie should give a tutorial today. So, she has to give a presentation. Millie says, that's right. I'm going to talk about renewable energy sources. What are the renewable energy sources? It is water, wind, light. It is all renewable. Non-renewable means coal, petrol. So, she says, who says? Millie says, I'm going to talk about renewable energy sources and specifically solar towers. So she says, I'm going to speak about solar towers. Listen carefully. I'm not sure how much you already know about solar towers. So she says, I don't know how much you know about solar towers. So I thought I would start with a few questions. She says, I'm going to start with a few questions. First of all, does anyone know how solar towers work? She asks a question, how solar towers work. And what's the Tanya? The student says, don't. They somehow use the sun's energy to create electricity. So Tanya says, through the sun's energy they create electricity, right? So Millie says, yes, in a way they actually work by using the sun to make columns of hot air that rise upwards through the center of the tower. So hot rays, through the hot rays, this rays goes up, rises up to the center of the tower. Now, do you know how old this idea is? So she asked, who asked? Miller asked, how old this idea, solar energy, taking current or making current through the sun rays. How many years old? Do you know that? This is what Millie asked, and Luke says, I would have thought it was the 20th century idea. What do you mean by 20th century? Which year, you know? 1950s and all those things, right? That's when we have had to start thinking about how to solve energy problems, isn't it? She says, is it 20th century? And Tanya says, no. I read something about this last week. The first time solar energy was produced was in the 17th century, wasn't it? 17th century, when was it? 1600, 1647 or 50 or whatever it is, right? So it is in the 17th century, and Millie says that's right. So it's not a modern idea at all. Miller says it's not a new idea, it's an old idea. And Leonardo da Vinci, you know Leonardo da Vinci? You don't know? He's a great artist and writer and drawer. Also made sketches. He made sketches of solar tower, though he never actually built one. So this Leonardo da Vinci has not built, but he has made sketches. Their recent history starts really with a man called George Scalich. He is the man who has made. And Tanya asks, yes, I read about him. He's a professor from Germany, and he needed a country with plenty of sunshine and land for his research. So he chose Spain to build the first tower. So to have solar tower, you need to have a lot of sunlight. So this gentleman, what's his name? George, he has selected which country? Spain, right? Okay, coming next, Miller says, correct. Well, everyone seems to know something about these towers. And Luke says, yes, but I still didn't really understand how they work. So Luke says, I don't know how does it work. And Millie says, well, I have made a flow chart. She says, Millie says, she has made a flow chart. See, flow chart is here. Firstly, you have to realize that they are very tall towers. They are very tall towers. They are constructed out of high strength concrete. It is made of high strength concrete, and they can be as high as 1,000 feet. How much feet? 1,000 feet. There is one being built in Australia that is 1 kilometer high. 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. In Australia, you have 1 kilometer tower, right, sir? High. Now, all around the base of the tower, they have a sunlight collector. So, base of the tower, they have sunlight collector. The sunlight is collected, which is basically a large sheet of plastic. It is made of plastic, right? It extends out for as much as 7 kilometers. The plastic sheets extends of how much kilometers? 7 kilometers, and it is raised off the ground slightly, so it is above the ground, right? The plastic is above the ground. Okay, it is above the ground slightly, so it heats up the air underneath it. So the this solar heat is collected through the plastic, and underneath there is a empty space. There the heat is stored up, right? Okay, now look, say, so it acts like a greenhouse. Then what do you mean by greenhouse? Anybody? What do you mean by greenhouse? Is your house painted in green? No. What do you mean by greenhouse? Where you can grow plants, right? It is called greenhouse. So that is exactly right. In fact, they plan to try and grow plants underneath it. Underneath it, they try to grow plants. So what happens to the air? So well, the sunlight collector heats it to 65 degrees centigrade. So the sunlight collector, that's plastic, it heats up to 65 degrees centigrade. That's on average 35 degree greater than the outside temperature. So outside temperature is 30 degree, here 65 degrees centigrade. And the laws of physics mean that this hot air rises up the chimney. So the laws of physics, what does it say? Outside 35 degree, here it is 65 degrees. So what happens? This heat goes up, this air goes up. Okay. Rises up the chimney or the shower and drives the turbines at the top. So the turbine is there in the top, so it makes it to round up. As the turbine revolve, they generate electricity. In fact, they generate 200 megawatts of electricity, or enough for 2 lakh houses. So the heat air which goes up 65 degrees centigrade, it goes up, it makes the turbines to move. Electricity is produced. How much electricity is produced? 200 megawatts of power. Wow, Rantanya says, that sounds impressive, but it can't all be good news. What are the disadvantages? I'll bet they are really expensive to operate. She says there must be disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? So she says, Millie says, well, no, not necessarily, because sunlight is free after all. Sunlight is free, so no expenses at all. So it's really only the initial outlay that is costly. After that, they are very efficient. So initial expenses, that's all. So Luke says, but what about at night when there is no sun? When there is no sun, what happens in the night time? So Millie says, well, they are managed to find a way to store the electricity produced. So whatever the electricity is produced, they are stored up. Through how electricity is stored up, yes, during the day. So it is no problem at night or even on cloudy days. So there are no drawbacks then. So Millie says, I didn't say that. One problem they do have is that a lot of the energy in the sunlight is lost from the collector in the form of heat. So a lot of through the heat it is lost, and then of the remaining heat a large proportion escapes from the top of the tower, but they are still worth the investment because, as I said, sunlight is free. So hang on, if their towers are so tall, how do they cope up in high winds? Surely they become dangerous then. So she says, since the tower is such a huge one, so the winds may cause some problem. So yes, keeping them stable is another drawback. I believe they anchor the towers to the ground. What do you mean by anchoring? Fixing it to the ground with wires to stabilize them, so they are not dangerous, but it isn't an issue. So tutor says, you have certainly found an interesting topic today. So thanks, Millie. Perhaps we can have a look at your picture now. Okay, now are you ready for the answers? Are you ready for the answers? So test practice 1, 2, 3. Dear friends, you have listened and now you have to answer. You have to answer not more than 3 words. Solar towers create energy from moving hot air. Very good. So hot air, this is the answer. Hot air. So the solar towers create energy from what? What is the main source? For thermal it is coal, for hydel it is water, and for atomic energy that is current, that is atom. For here solar towers create energy from moving hot air. Number 2, the first ever recorded use of this type of energy was in the 17th century. 17th century. 17th century. The location of the first solar tower was in Spain, because that one professor, he has taken it in Spain because lot of sunlight is there. So number questions 4 to 8, complete the flow chart, write not more than 2 words. Yes, okay, for each answer. Solar tower flow chart. Towers are built using extra strong concrete. At the bottom, they have a sunlight collector made of dash spread over a large area of ground. What is the answer of 5? Plastic. See, the tower is made of concrete. Beneath, plastic. Below the plastic, there is empty space where the hot air is stored up, right? Okay. The sunlight collector warms the air beneath it and operates in a similar way to a greenhouse. The air dash through the tower, causing the turbines to turn. The air, 7th, rises. So the air rises through the beneath of the plastic and goes up and makes the turbine to move, right? Okay, the turbines create dash megawatts of electricity. 200 megawatts. 200 megawatts. Questions 9 to 10. Circle 2 letters A and E. What are the 2 disadvantages of solar towers? What are the 2 disadvantages of solar towers? They are too expensive to run? No, because only one time investment. For air, no investment at all. So B, heat escapes from the solar collector. Yes. Okay, number B. Okay, number B. They require a great deal of land. No. Okay. D, they cannot produce electricity at night. No. Okay, they need to be able to withstand high winds. That's a drawback, right? So answer is B and E. B and E, right, sir? So what you are able to understand, my dear friends, see, these are the reported verbs. Direct speech, the sentence is given. You have to change the sentence to reported speech using the reported verb. That's what you have seen. Then you have seen a listening conversation there about the solar energy, right? So that's what you have seen and you have got the answer. So we shall go in for a Tamil version. Yes. நண்பர்களே, கேம்பிரிட்ஜ் கிராமர் ஃபார் ஐல்ஸ் புக்கை எடுத்துக்கொள்ளுங்கள். பேஜ் நம்பர் 70A, ரிப்போர்ட்டட் ஸ்பீச். ரிப்போர்ட்டட் ஸ்பீச்னு என்ன? நான் உங்கள்கிட்ட சொல்கிறது நீ மற்றவங்கள்ட்ட போய் சொல்கிறேன். மற்றவங்கள்ட்ட போய் சொல்லும்போது செட்டு டோல்டு மட்டும் சொல்லக்கூடாது. இங்கே பாருங்கள், வேர்ப்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்குறோம். இங்கே ஒரு எக்ஸசைஸ் கொடுத்துருக்கிறோம். 10 வாக்கியங்கள் கொடுத்துருக்கிறோம். இந்த 10 வாக்கியத்தில் நீங்கள் இங்கே கொடுக்கப்பட்டிருக்கக்கூடிய வினைச்சொற்களை பயன்படுத்தி ரிப்போர்ட்டட் சென்டென்சஸாக சொல்லணும். இந்த ரிப்போர்ட்டட் வேர்ப்ஸ் பாருங்க. அக்ரி என்றால் என்ன? ஏற்றுக்கொள்கிறேன். அப்பாலஜைஸ், மன்னித்து கோருகிறேன். ஆஸ்க், கேட்கிறேன். ஆஸ்க், மறுபடியும் கேட்கிறேன். டினை, மறுக்கிறேன். என்கரேஜ், உற்சாகப்படுத்துகிறேன். பெர்சுவேடட், வலியுறுத்துகிறேன். ப்ராமிஸ், உறுதியாக சொல்கிறேன். ரெஃப்யூஸ், மறுக்கிறேன். சஜஸ்ட், கருத்து கூறுகிறேன். ஸோ இந்த சென்டென்ஸ் கொடுக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது டைரக்ட் ஸ்பீச். we are going to lower taxes and reduce unemployment. யாரோ ஒருத்தர் சொல்கிறாங்க, கவர்மெண்ட் சொல்லுது, கவர்மெண்ட் ஆஃப் இந்தியா சொல்லுது, நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ணுறோம்? டேக்ஸஸை லோவர் பண்ணுறோம், அந்த அன்எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட் வேலை இல்லாததை குறைக்கிறோம். நீங்கள் மற்றவங்கள்ட்ட என்ன போய் சொல்லுவீங்க? த கவர்மெண்ட் ப்ராமிஸ்டு. இந்த ப்ராமிஸை தூக்கி போட்டுறீங்க. நம்பர் 1, ப்ராமிஸ் டு லோவர் டேக்ஸஸ் அண்ட் ரெடியூஸ் அன்எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட். அடுத்ததாக பாருங்க, ஐ ரியலி திங்க் யூ ஷுட் அப்ளை ஃபார் த ஜாப். யூ வுட் apostrophe D now, you would have a good chance of getting it. So I am telling you, you apply for the job, you will get a job. You have a good chance. So how do you say? இதை நீங்கள் எப்படி மற்றவங்களுக்கு மாற்றுவீர்கள்? அயற்கூற்றிலே she encouraged போட்டுறீங்க. she encouraged me to apply for the job. அவள் என்னை உற்சாகப்படுத்தினால் இந்த வேலைக்கு விண்ணப்பிக்க. நோ, ஐ won't help you, do it yourself. நான் உனக்கு உதவி செய்ய மாட்டேன், do it yourself. அப்போ இங்கே இருக்கிற வார்த்தையை எடுத்து தூக்கி போட்டு இங்கே இன்டைரக்ட் ஸ்பீச்சில் எப்படி சொல்லுவீங்க? He refused, நம்பர் 3, refused to help me, he refused to help me, முடிஞ்சது. அதே மீனிங், ஆனால் வேர்ட்ஸ் வந்து ஷார்டன் ஆகுது பாருங்க. ஓ ஓகே, ஐ வில் கோ டு த மீட்டிங். சரி, நான் மீட்டிங்க்கு போகிறேன். ஸோ வாட் இஸ் த வேர்ப் யூ கேன் சூஸ்? ஸோ ஷீ agreed to go to the meeting. அவள் ஒற்றுக்கொண்டால் மீட்டிங்குக்கு செல்வதற்கு. I didn't cause the accident, it wasn't me. நான் ஆக்சிடென்ட் பண்ணல, நான் ரீசன் இல்லை. ஸோ வாட் இஸ் த வேர்ப் யூ கேன் யூஸ்? என்ன வேர்ப் யூஸ் பண்ணுற? deny, மறிக்கிறேன். ஸோ he denied, அவன் மறுத்தான், causing the accident, அந்த விபத்தை ஏற்படுத்தியதை அவன் மறுத்தான். Next, we are very sorry that we lost your application form. இங்கே ஒரு இடத்துல அப்ளிகேஷன் ஃபார்ம் கொண்டு போய் கொடுக்குறீங்க, தொலைந்து போச்சு. அப்போ அவங்க மன்னிப்பு கோருகிறார்கள், நாங்கள் தொலைச்சிட்டோன்னு. அதை எப்படி சொல்வீங்க? மன்னிப்பு கோருவதற்கு என்ன வேர்டு யூஸ் பண்ணலாம்? அப்பாலஜைஸ் யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். அப்பாலஜைஸ், they apologized for losing my application form. They apologized for losing the application form. மன்னிப்பு கோரினார்கள். அடுத்தது பாருங்க, why aren't there many poisonous snakes in Britain? பிரிட்டன்ல ஏன் அதிகமாக பாய்சனஸ் ஸ்னேக்ஸ் இல்லை? அப்போ இது கேட்கிறார்கள். ஸோ 7th போட்டுறீங்க. he asked why there aren't many poisonous snakes in Britain. இங்கே பாருங்க, why aren't, ஒய்க்கு அப்புறம் ஆக்சிலரி வெர்ப் வருது. இதை ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்டாக மாற்றும் போது இன்டைரக்டில் ஒய்க்கு பக்கத்தில் தேர் வந்தது, ஆர் பின்னாடி வந்து விடுகிறது. ஸோ ஆர் யூ கோயிங் டு த லெக்சர் டுமாரோ? நீங்கள் லெக்சருக்கு டுமாரோ நாளைக்கு செல்கிறீர்களா? இந்த ஆர் யூ கோயிங்னு வரும்போது எஸ் ஆர் நோ, ஆமாம் இல்லை கேள்வி பதில், தகவல் வார்த்தை இல்லை. ஸோ இது என்ன யூஸ் பண்ணுவீங்க? ஆஸ் போட்டுறீங்க. ஷி ஆஸ்க்டு இஃப் அல்லது வெதர். ஷி ஆஸ்க் இஃப் ஐ வாஸ் கோயிங் டு த லெக்சர் த நெக்ஸ்ட் டே. டுமாரோங்கிறது நெக்ஸ்ட் டே ஆக மாறிவிடுகிறது. ஷி ஆஸ்க் வெதர் ஐ வாஸ் கோயிங் டு த லெக்சர் த நெக்ஸ்ட் டே, இப்படியாக மாறிவிடுகிறது. நெக்ஸ்ட், why don't you have a day off? ஏன் ஒரு நாள் லீவ் எடுக்கக்கூடாது? why don't you have a day off? you could do with a rest, நீங்கள் ரெஸ்ட் எடுக்கலாம். ஸோ என்ன வேர்ப் யூஸ் பண்ணுறீங்க? suggest. 9th, she suggested I have a day off. அவள் எனக்கு கருத்து கூறினாள். Number 10, please come to the theater with me. தயவு செய்து என் கூட தியேட்டருக்கு வா. Dan, I really think you will enjoy it. Oh, all right then, Claire. So தயவு செய்து வாங்க, ரொம்ப வலியுறுத்தி சொல்லுவோம் போது persuaded. 10th, so Claire persuaded Dan to go to the theater with her. அடுத்து டெஸ்ட் ப்ராக்டிஸ். இங்கே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மின்சாரத்தை எதன் மூலமாக தயாரிக்கிறோம்? நம்பர் 1, வாட்டர், தண்ணீர் மூலமாக. அதை ஐடில் எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி, ஹைடல் பவர் என்று சொல்வீர்கள். இன்னொரு எதுலேருந்து மின்சாரம் தயாரிப்பீங்க? ஆட்டம், அட்டாமிக் எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி, கூடங்குளத்துல எல்லாம் பார்க்குறீங்க. தென் கோல் மூலமாக தெர்மல், மேட்டூரில் பார்க்குறீங்க. விண்டு மூலமாக நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுறோம்? வி ப்ரொடியூஸ் எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி, டர்பைன்ஸ். இங்கே டவரை கிரியேட் பண்ணுறோம். பெரிய டவர்னா கோபுரம், அது வானை நோக்கி செல்ல உயரமான கோபுரம், 1000 மீட்டர், 1 கிலோமீட்டர் டிஸ்டன்ஸ். அங்கே சூரிய ஒளியெல்லாம் வாங்கி என்ன பண்ணுகிறது? அந்த டவர் எதனால் செய்யப்படுகிறது? சிமெண்ட் மூலமாக செய்யப்படுகிறது. கீழே வர வர என்ன ஆகிறது? ஒரு பிளாஸ்டிக் மூலமாக. அந்த பிளாஸ்டிக் எத்தனை கிலோமீட்டர் இருக்கிறது? 6-7 கிலோமீட்டர் இருக்கிறது. பிளாஸ்டிக் 7 கிலோமீட்டர் அளவில் பிளாஸ்டிக்னு நினைத்து பாருங்க. கீழே ஒரு 10-50 அடி கேப் விட்டுறாங்க. ஸோ இந்த டவர் என்ன பண்ணிக்கிறது? சூரிய ஒளியை அப்படி இழுத்து அந்த ஹீட்டை உள்ளே கொண்டு வந்து அந்த பிளாஸ்டிக் கீழே அந்த எம்டி ஸ்பேஸில் அந்த ஹீட்டை ஸ்டோர் பண்ணி வைத்து விடுகிறது. ஸோ என்ன ஆகிறது? வெளியே என்ன எவ்வளோ டிகிரி சென்டிகிரேட் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 35 டிகிரி சென்டிகிரேட். இந்த சூரிய ஒளியை இந்த டவர் இழுக்கும் பொழுது கீழே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 65 டிகிரி சென்டிகிரேட்டாக இருக்கிறது. இந்த வெப்பம் அதிகமாக இருக்கிற பொழுது அந்த 65 டிகிரி சென்டிகிரேட் அது அப்படி மேலே வருகிறது ஹீட் எனர்ஜியாக. மேலே வரும்பொழுது டர்பைன் என்று இருக்கிறது. டர்பைன் என்ன சொல்லுவீங்க? ஒரு ஃபேன் மாதிரி சொல்லலாம். அது சுத்த ஆரம்பிக்கிறது. அது சுத்த மின்சாரம் உற்பத்தி பண்ணப்படுகிறது. எவ்வளவு மின்சாரம்? 200 மெகாவாட். அது வந்து 2 லட்சம் குடும்பத்துக்கு எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி சப்ளை பண்ணலாம். ஸோ இதுதான் நீங்கள் லிஸ்னிங் ஸ்பீச்சில் நீங்கள் கேட்குறீங்க. ஸோ கம்ப்ளீட் த சென்டென்சஸ், ரைட் நாட் மோர் தென் 3 words and or a number for each answer. Solar towers create energy from moving. அப்போ சோலார் டவர்ஸ் எப்படி கரண்ட்டை உற்பத்தி பண்ணுகிறது? ஹாட் ஏர், நல்ல சூடான காற்று மூலமாக. The first ever recorded use of this type of energy was in the 17th century. அப்போ நீங்கள் அந்த லிஸ்னிங் டாஸ்கில் கேட்பீங்க, 17ஆவது நூற்றாண்டிலே இந்த முதலாக இந்த சோலார் எனர்ஜியை உருவாக்குவதை பற்றி சொன்னார்கள். The location of the first solar tower was Spain. இந்த solar tower எங்க first begin பண்ணாங்க? In Spain. அதான் நீங்க கேட்டீர்கள். அடுத்து complete the flow chart, right? Not more than 2 words. Towers are built using extra strong, and the towers எதை வச்சு செய்யப்படுகிறது? Concrete, நல்ல கெட்டியான concrete. At the bottom கீழே they have a sunlight collector, அந்த சூரிய வெப்பத்தை எல்லாம் கலெக்ட் பண்ணிக்கிற plastic தான் second answer number 5. Spread over a large area of ground. The sunlight collector warms the air beneath it and operates in a similar way to a greenhouse. Greenhouse என்னன்னா பாத்தீங்கன்னா சூரிய ஒளி மூலமாக செடி கொடிகளை வளர்ப்பது, அதான் greenhouse. The air rises through the tower causing the turbines to turn. The சூரிய வெப்பம் என்ன பண்ணுகிறது? மேலே போகிறது, அந்த டர்பைன் அந்த ஃபேனை சுத்த வைக்கிறது, rises up. And the heat. The turbines create 200 megawatts of electricity. And the turbines எத்தனை electricity உற்பத்தி பண்ணுகிறது? 200 megawatts. So இந்த டவர் மூலமாக என்னென்ன disadvantage? அடுத்த question பாருங்க 9 to 10. What are 2 disadvantages of solar towers? அப்ப இந்த solar towersல என்னென்ன disadvantages என்ன கேட்டீர்கள்? Number 1, they are too expensive to run. அது ரொம்ப காஸ்ட்லியா இல்லை. அதுல என்ன சொல்கிறார்கள்? solar energy வந்து free of cost, so it is very cheap. ரெண்டாவது, heat escapes from the solar collector. அது உண்மை, அந்த ஹீட் எல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் வெளியே போய் விடுகிறது. so B is correct answer. இன்னொரு ஆன்சர் நம்ம கண்டுபிடிக்கணும். they require a great deal of land. solar energy நிறைய land தேவை, அது நம்ம பார்க்கல, ஒன்றும் சொல்லல. they cannot produce electricity at night. இரவு நேரத்தில் மின்சாரத்தை உற்பத்தி பண்ண முடியாது, அதுவும் தப்பு, அது சொல்லல. ஏன்னா இரவு நேரத்தில் மின்சாரத்தை சேமித்து வைக்கலாம். they need to be able to withstand high winds. டவர் உயரமாக இருக்கிறது, காற்று பயங்கர ஃபோர்ஸ்ல அடிக்குது, அதுக்கு கொஞ்சம் பிரச்சனை எல்லாம் இருக்குது, அது ஒத்துக்கலாம். BE. so B is the correct answer. so dear friends, இது வந்து நீங்க reported speechல what are the verbs you are using?